Hey guys, it's ShawNshawN here. I sell art on ShawNshawN.co for 15 years, and we're going to review the movie Elvis. So this is a film obviously about Elvis and his life and story. It's interesting because they kind of juxtapose the story with his manager who stole a lot of money from Elvis. So they kind of started with him dying and then move into the earlier scenes of when Elvis got his start, which is really interesting to use the manager's perspective. But the manager definitely held back Elvis in his later years, so I guess that was a very important part of the story. Has some really good actors in here, Tom Hanks and a couple other guys. Obviously, the guy who plays Elvis is really good. Sorry, I don't know it this time. I normally have all this stuff written down, but I'm doing this in the back of my car, guys. And yeah, I thought they had a really great cinematography. The colors were really sharp, really like that. It was really weird too, because in a couple scenes they added a little bit of modern music from like the 2000s for some reason. Just little clips here and there, I guess, to maybe sync the roots of Elvis with the young people. But there's so much great music from the 50s, 60s, 70s that it's like, why even use any other era's music? It's kind of weird, a little bit inauthentic, but I guess they're just trying to bridge the gap from the 50s, 60s when Elvis was popular till now, which I guess maybe works. It's interesting too, they explore the idea of like kind of the first superstar who got addicted to drugs and dies of drugs. And as you probably know, he was the first superstar, so he had no guidance at all about how to manage the drugs and all of that. So it was just a disaster for Elvis. And yeah, it was interesting. Like the manager does really well for Elvis, but then it's in the end, it seems like he's super greedy because he's getting like 50% cut, and and then he locks Elvis into this stupid hotel because of, this guy has massive gambling debts, which has nothing to do with Elvis, but Elvis wanted to tour for the people and he never got the chance to tour internationally because his managers, the colonel, locked him into this hotel where he was working at so the colonel could pay off his debts. Basically not for Elvis's good. But yeah, it has all the different eras of Elvis, and also the rock and roll roots are really interesting because I always knew a little bit about Elvis as far as people thought that he stole a lot of music from black people, which in that day and age, it was very possible because, a black star would sing it, but it would only be popular in the black clubs. And so you would never make money on it from a black stars. But then if you had a white guy sing the same exact song, the white people like it. And so, but the story there is he really grew up with like kind of a black family and a black neighborhood. So he got really into the music at a very young age of R&B and blues music. So when he switched over and did his own music, he had all that roots, and that's really deep in Elvis's music. So it's really interesting that, because I can see how they thought that, and he did borrow a few songs. I think all really great artists borrow a couple songs from other artists. So it's always kind of strange. You're like, the ethics behind that. But, he made those songs popular, and I don't know, it's hard to say how you feel about that, because back in the day, those music most people wouldn't even know about that music because they would be afraid to go to black bars and clubs, and, there was really big color lines that people didn't want to cross, and black people were forced out of it as well. So it's really interesting. They kind of touched on that subject, as well as kind of, a little bit like when Martin Luther King died, and, the impact of Elvis, because he was also from Memphis, so it was really close to Elvis's hometown, and where Elvis land, or whatever it's called. I think it's called Elvis Land, but anyway, I think it's a good film. I recommend it. If you guys want to subscribe, you can subscribe below, and I'll see you on the next movie review. Thanks for watching.